I want to make the little kid who was dying to get into this industry. I want to make that kid proud.
How do you go from selling mixtapes out of a car trunk to being called the King of the South and still have the world debating your name? Born Clifford Joseph Harris Jr. In Atlanta, T.I. clawed his way from center hill to center stage, pioneering trap sound while stacking hit records, business moves, and headline-making moments. He built Grand Hustle, turned verses into ventures, and took the hustle from the booth to the boardroom, and even to the big screen. Today, we're unpacking the rise, the reign, the risks, and the receipts. The music that changed the map, the money plays that built an empire, the cars, the mansions, the controversies, and the legacy he's still writing. Strap in. This is T.I.'s story, and it moves fast. Atlanta wakes before the sun, its streets humming with bass and grit like a city breathing in survival. Into this restless world on September 25th, 1980, came Clifford Joseph Harris Jr., the future T.I. He grew up in Center Hill near the rough edges of Bankhead Highway, where concrete, corner stores, and street noise shaped his earliest memories like a constant drumbeat. His parents, Violetta Morgan and Clifford Buddy Harris Sr., were often absent, living lives that kept them distant. His father remained in New York, appearing only in brief visits that felt more like echoes than presence. So his grandparents, Robert and Willie Morgan, became the steady force in his life, the safe harbor where discipline and warmth coexisted, giving Clifford just enough space to dream amid difficulty. By 7, the boy they called Tip, a nickname from his great-grandfather, was already spilling rhymes effortlessly, mimicking rappers on tapes and crafting lines of his own like sparks catching on dry ground. Yet the streets pressed in. Clifford drifted through school without purpose and eventually dropped out of Douglas High School, slipping into drugs, legal trouble, and the kind of danger that becomes familiar too quickly. By 14, trouble felt like a shadow he couldn't outrun. Still, music held on to him. By 16, he was hustling mixtapes with Big Country King, selling them from car trunks across Atlanta with the fierce determination of someone fighting for air. The grind was raw but rising, momentum building with every sale. Then everything shifted. His voice caught the attention of Kwan KP Prather, a music executive who heard something electric in Tip's delivery, something sharp enough to cut through the noise of thousands chasing the same dream. Clifford signed with Ghetto Vision Entertainment, taking his first real step into the industry. In 1999, joining LaFace Records, he shortened Tip to T.I. Out of respect for rappers, except for Q-Tip, a small choice that marked a deeper transformation, turning a boy molded by hardship into an artist ready to reshape a genre. By 2001, he released I'm Serious, an album that didn't set the charts ablaze but announced his arrival with the weight of a promise. Peaking at number 98 on the Billboard 200, it marked a beginning, followed quickly by a fall, as disappointing sales led to his release from the label. Yet instead of crushing him, the setback forged him, hardening his resolve like fire strengthens steel. Refusing to fade, T.I. rebounded in 2003 with a defining leap. Together with Jason Geter, he founded Grand Hustle Records, a label built from vision as much as necessity. That same year, he unleashed Trap Music, an album with the sting of the streets and the swagger of a rising king. Tracks like Rubber Band Man and 24s helped carve trap music into the very bedrock of Southern hip-hop, pushing him to the forefront of a new movement. Momentum carried him forward. Urban Legend, 2004, propelled him deeper into mainstream territory, but 2006 sealed his reign. His album King debuted at number 1, selling over 522,000 copies in its first week, a coronation delivered not by critics, but by the people. In the South, Miss Nasco, King no longer felt like a claim, it felt like a truth earned. Then came 2008, a year that stretched his influence far beyond hip-hop's borders. With Paper Trail, he delivered global hits like Whatever You Like and Live Your Life, the latter soaring with Rihanna's unmistakable voice. These weren't just songs, they were cultural echoes, moments that lingered long after their first impact. Awards followed, including multiple Grammy wins, cementing his place at the summit of the rap world. But T.I.'s ambitions didn't stop at music. He stepped into film with a natural ease, earning praise for standout roles in ATL, 2006, American Gangster, 2007, and Takers, 2010. On screen, he carried the same magnetic pull he brought to the mic, commanding, confident, unmistakable. Behind the scenes, he became a force shaping others' careers, producing for artists like Big Country King, BG, B.O.B., and Iggy Azalea, leaving fingerprints across genres and generations. Over time, T.I. built a towering catalog, 11 studio albums, more than 110 singles, and a massive global footprint. With over 30 million singles sold, multiple platinum certifications, and his role as one of trap music's architects, His legacy stands as tall and unignorable as Atlanta's skyline. His journey from early stumbles to chart-topping dominance wasn't a straight road. It was a climb marked by grit, reinvention, and fire. A young man who entered the industry with a name and walked out with a legacy. And the South, loud and proud, crowned him for it. T.I.'s personal life unfolded with the same fierce rhythm as his music, charged with passion, friction, and loyalty stretched taut like a guitar string ready to snap. His love story truly began in 2001, when he and Tameka Tiny Cottle connected quietly but intensely, their bond growing with the steady strength of a flame learning to rise. As their partnership deepened, their family expanded around them like branches stretching toward the sun. Before marriage entered the picture, T.I. was already father to Messiah and Damani with LaShawn Dixon, and to Deja with singer Maz Nico. Tiny stepped in with her daughter Zonique, whom T.I. folded into his life with the ease of someone opening a door to a new beginning. Their world only grew fuller when they welcomed King in 2004, Major in 2008, and Heiress in 2016, creating a blended household that moved as one, tight-knit, lively, and sometimes turbulent, much like a storm that still finds its calm. After nearly 10 years of building a life together, T.Y. and Tiny married on July 30th, 2010, making official what time had long proven. Yet love under the spotlight can twist like heat through metal. In 2016, tension pushed Tiny to file for divorce. Their story, however, refused to end there. The pair reconciled the following year, choosing rebuilding over retreat. Not all strain came from the outside world. Some of it lived inside the family itself. In 2019, T.E.'s public comments about his daughter Deja sparked controversy and led to emotional distance, with Deja later explaining her need for space as their relationship shifted. Through every triumph and fracture, the world watched the Harris family navigate their reality on T.Y. and Tiny. The Family Hustle, a series that showed not glamour but grit. Parents working to hold their household together amid fame, parenting, and public scrutiny. Its spin-off captured the same spirit, not perfection, but persistence. But fame was only half the picture. The real plot twist came in the form of business moves that turned ambition into wealth. T.Y.'s wealth story rises like a man turning every obstacle into a launch pad. By 2025, his net worth stood around $30 to $32 million, the result of reshaping his voice, ambition, and hustle into a far-reaching financial empire. His music formed the bedrock of that empire. 14 million albums and 30 million singles sold, each track generating royalties that flowed steadily like a river, feeding into a larger ocean of earnings. But he treated success like fuel, pushing it beyond the studio and into ventures that widened his influence. His first major pivot came with Grand Hustle Records in 2003, a move that shifted him from artist to owner and became a central pillar of his wealth. He expanded that foundation in 2008 by co-founding AKOO Clothing, blending fashion with identity and adding a new income stream. His entrepreneurial reach stretched across Atlanta's nightlife as he took stake in Club Crucial, a hotspot that acted both as a cultural landmark and a profitable investment. Thriving the way heat thrives in the heart of the city. Real estate strengthened his portfolio even further. His holdings included a 14,000 square foot mansion in Atlanta, a physical testament to how deeply he'd cemented his wealth into the city that raised him. He blended profit with purpose through Buy the Block, a venture focused on community-minded redevelopment, turning investment into impact. Not content with traditional ventures, T.I. entered the tech space through Grand Hustle Tech, backing Atlanta startups like the fintech app Moolah and logistics platform Sudo, signaling his instinct for scalable innovation. He also transformed his cultural legacy into tangible revenue through the Trap Music Museum, turning his imprint on Southern hip-hop into a destination and business in its own right. Hollywood offered yet another path. His roles in ATL, Takers, and Marvel's Ant-Man series brought substantial paychecks and broadened his audience. Meanwhile, reality TV, especially T.I. and Tiny, The Family Hustle, turned his home life into marketable storytelling and expanded his brand. Then came the financial twist worthy of a film script. In 2024, T.I. and Tiny won a massive $71 million lawsuit against MGA Entertainment over the OMG Girls likeness dispute. A jury awarded them $17.9 million in compensatory damages and $53.6 million in punitive damages, an overnight windfall that reshaped their financial landscape. His journey wasn't without turbulence. The IRS hit him with over $4.5 million in tax liens in 2015, a reminder that wealth draws shadows as quickly as it draws light. Yet T.I. pushed through it the way he always has, turning pressure into momentum, rebuilding and expanding with the persistence that marked every step of his rise. Through music, business, real estate, tech, acting, televised storytelling, and a courtroom victory that would change anyone's fortune, T.I. constructed a financial empire shaped by vision rather than luck. His wealth stands as proof that he never stayed in one lane. He built the road, widened it, and claimed every direction as part of his kingdom. But if you really want to hear the flex, don't check the charts, check the garage. T.I.'s love affair with cars began long before fame ever found him. To him, cars weren't just machines, they were markers of progress, each one like a milepost showing how far he'd climbed from nothing. His journey behind the wheel started at just 14, when he bought an all-white 1985 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme with a burgundy interior. The car's original MSRP sat at $11,016, but the fully customized version he poured himself into reportedly reached nearly $800,000, a bold splurge for a kid already dreaming beyond the edges of his neighborhood. As success found him, the engines in his life grew louder. One of the first heavy hitters he added to his grown-up collection was the 2016 GMC Yukon Denali, a luxury SUV priced at $69,770, pushed by a 6.2-liter V8 with 420 horsepower, smooth enough for family rides, strong enough for late-night Atlanta cruising. His taste only climbed higher with the 2015 Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, a military-styled luxury truck with a price tag of $115,400 and 536 horsepower under the hood. Its boxy, commanding presence matched the energy he carried into the rap world, unapologetic, bold, and impossible to ignore. T.I.'s affection for American muscle made room for a 2008 Dodge Challenger, a sleek coupe he used not just for driving, but for storytelling, showing up in his creative work and carrying the same raw, rebellious energy as his early hustle. But the true jewels in his garage shined when he opened the doors to Vivo's Let It Ride. There, fans got a glimpse of his most enviable machines. He revealed his Rolls-Royce Ghost, a symbol of quiet, confident power, with base models soaring well past $250,000. A car that sat in his garage like royalty. Beside it rested his Range Rover Autobiography, a fully loaded SUV often priced above $140,000, built for luxury and the unmistakable message that its driver had arrived. Then came the elegance of the Bentley Continental, a timeless coupe valued at well over $200,000, blending European class with road-devouring speed. It felt like a mirror of Tijuana himself, refined when needed, untamed when necessary. For him, these cars weren't just displays of wealth. They were tied to memory. He once recalled his uncle rolling up in a turquoise Porsche LL Cool J's, going back to Cali, blasting through the speakers. That moment didn't just impress him, it ignited a lifelong passion. Over the years, his garage grew into a gallery of success. Ferraris, Bentleys, Jeeps, luxury SUVs, muscle cars, and classics. Whether tearing through Atlanta streets or showcased for fans, each ride carried a piece of his journey. These weren't simply purchases, they were symbols of a man who turned dreams into keys into engines, and engines into a fleet reflecting everything he built. From horsepower to house keys, the story shifts to the front door. T.I.'s real estate arc reads like a blueprint for permanence. Each deed another monument, rising from center hill like skyline steel to match the spread of his ambition. His defining play came late 2020, a 14,000 square foot Atlanta estate on the Chattahoochee River, bought for about $3.27 million. Less a house than a private realm behind gates and trees. Inside, it unfurls like a luxury resort. 7 bedrooms, 10 baths, home theater, gym, sauna, massage room, spa, wine cellar, plus a guest house, and outside a vast pool and riverside fireplace that make the property feel carved into Georgia's hush like a king's retreat. It isn't extravagance for its own sake, it's intention. A place engineered for family noise and late-night focus, for quiet the way velvet softens sound, proof of a life built piece by careful piece. Around the same period, he and Tiny added another Atlanta stronghold, roughly 10,000 square feet of luxe living, 7 bedrooms, 10 baths, large pool, outdoor fireplace, a multi-million tier address that mirrors the riverfront home's grandeur like a second crown. Before these mega estates, T.I. had already planted a flag in Peachtree Battle, one of Atlanta's most storied enclaves. 5,564 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 7 baths, refined lines and quiet streets, the kind of setting where success settles in and exhales. Homes here typically live deep in 7 figures, and this one reads like the calm before the empire scaled up. As we all know, it's almost impossible for any celebrity to live under the spotlight without controversy, and T.I. is no exception. The most intense flashpoint hit in January 2021 when former friend Sabrina Peterson said T held a gun to her head, an accusation that quickly widened as she shared accounts from other women alleging drugging, coercion, and sexual assault involving T.I. and Tiny, spanning multiple states and years. The couple denied the claims, insisting any encounters were between consenting adults. Soon, an allegation involving a 17-year-old intern fed a growing media storm, and the LAPD opened an inquiry that was later closed because the statute of limitations had run out. Proof the blaze had drawn heat even as the legal fuse went cold. Just as the noise dimmed, 2024 reignited it. A Jane Doe filed a civil suit alleging she was drugged and assaulted by the couple in 2005, while a U.S. Air Force veteran brought a similar suit. The Harrises pushed back, seeking dismissal on statute of limitations grounds and arguing the pleadings lacked sufficient facts. One case was dismissed with leave to amend after the accuser missed a response deadline. Meanwhile, the Peterson feud took its own legal turn. Her 2021 defamation suit against T.Y. and Tiny was dismissed in 2025 for failure to prosecute, closing the file but not the public debate that had surrounded it for years. Through accusations, denials, investigations, dismissals, and all the courtroom pauses in between, the Controversies formed a parallel storyline to T.Y.'s career, lingering like a long shadow at sunset. Even when cases stalled, the conversation didn't. And just like that, we've reached the end of our tour, through the world of a man who turned every beat, every risk, and every setback into a life most people only dream about. T.I.'s luxury isn't just measured in marble floors, roaring engines, or million-dollar views. It's measured in how far he climbed to earn them. What we see today, the estates, the fleets, the wealth, the influence, is the afterglow of a hustle that never truly stopped. And whether you love him, question him, or simply watch him from a distance, one thing is undeniable. Ty built a life big enough for the world to notice. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the King of the South's world of power and opulence, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss what's coming next.